preparing the live stream. Everything is going work. Everything is going great. But today's topic, you know, let's see. You went to TikTok. We're gonna do the live. We're gonna
On
get this
TikTok, yeah.
going.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
All right.
FCS join. Let me invite as a
Throw me
guest.
up in there.
Perfect. Invitation sent. Get
Down.
it all streaming around. But today's subject, guys, it's gonna be
Join.
a really good topic. Breaking free, escaping the doubt cycle as a masculine man. You know, a lot of the topics that's trending about being a masculinity. In fact, one of our videos hit a lot of views because they were saying thank you because they're second guessing themselves about what it is, which
Hmm.
is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And me and Doc decided to hold off on the workshop, the mini workshop. I had it all planned out, but that's going to be our subject today. You mean the nagging me? How does self doubt quietly undermine your true potential as a modern masculine man, holding you back from everyday opportunities? Right? You know, the what ifs, the am I not good enough? You mean are just certain patterns that you might want to overcome doing some things with your life right now. It could be playing with your kids. It could be doing something that your job, working on videos, do using AI, doing something that you never even think about. But I just wanted to say welcome. And Doc, while we get all set up here, let's talk about that subject about breaking free and escaping the doubt cycle of being that man in today's society.
Yeah. Well, I guess let's start off by talking about what that cycle is, right?
Yes.
When it comes to doubt. So
Yes, sir.
usually what happens is, there's we're engaging in some type of activity or have to make some type of choice or something along those lines. Um, and then we will start to think about whatever that decision is, and then we'll start thinking about all the what ifs. Oh no, I don't
Oof.
know if I can do that. What if the economy crashes, or what if my wife doesn't like it, or what if this doesn't happen and that doesn't happen? And getting all these what ifs, right? And then we start thinking about, oh yeah, well, remember that one time I tried that thing and it didn't work out. And then now all of a sudden you start compiling, you actually go into the situation thinking of ways where it's not going to work, and you literally drive yourself crazy, and fill yourself with anxiety with all these what ifs, and then you don't pull the trigger, right? Or maybe you take too long to pull the trigger,
Ooh.
or maybe you allow the fear to cause you to make a bad decision, which reinforces all the beliefs you had before. And then now you get into this doubt cycle where it's like, see, this is just like last time. See, it's not going to work out. See, and it keeps happening over and over and over again. And especially when it comes to, people, especially when we do that, we start questioning our masculinity, right? Because like a real man would just be able to make a decision, right? And an alpha just takes charge and does all these things and all those things like that. So now you compile all of that negative evidence to suggest why you're not good enough and why it's not going to work and why you can't accomplish it. And then because you start putting all that negative energy into it, you don't accomplish it. You do fall through. You do make bad decisions. You do become indecisive, which reinforces your belief that you're not good enough, which keeps the doubt cycle going. All right, and so that's what people are struggling with on a regular basis now, or our men are struggling with on a regular basis now.
How in the invisible chains of holding you from self doubt, anxiety, and all this stuff, where does it basically come from? Is it from trauma or bad beliefs, old beliefs? You know, what do you believe the origin story of that is from?
It probably comes from our childhood, I would say. I would say
Mm.
it comes from our childhood. Where maybe either something happened where you weren't good enough, or you were told you weren't good enough, or you failed and then no one taught you how to come back from failure. It's any kind of combination of those things. What single things or combination of those things leads us to then start doubting ourselves and not knowing who we truly are. Sometimes we're not given the opportunity. Those people have been enabled or coddled their whole life. They never get an opportunity to stand on their own 2 feet. And so now you have no evidence to suggest that you are good enough, that you can handle it. So now you live terrified and in fear and constantly doubting yourself because you literally have no evidence to even look back to say, oh yeah, I did accomplish something like that before. So I would say
Right.
like that's where it comes from. And then what ends up happening is, we get this fixed mindset. There's that aspect as well. People get a fixed mindset where they think they're limited. When I see this
Oh,
happen,
limited. Yeah.
this is I see this happen with people who have a naturally high intelligence, right? They don't think they have to work, or they're praised for their intelligence, and so they get to a point and they get to a wall where their natural ability can't get through, but because they don't have any grit, they don't know how to overcome, they hit the wall and they stop. Again, the doubt cycle, right? Oh, it's too hard, it's too much, I'm not good enough, it's a cheating system, it's a this, it's a that. We start making up excuses that fuel our doubt, that keep us from making moving forward. So to answer your question, where all these things come from, it comes from some combination of that. Again, either a single point of failure or a combination of those things that lead to us now becoming, the men who can't make a decision, are living in doubt, are making bad decisions, fueling this doubt cycle over and over again. And until you take a stop and start thinking about it, you're not going to ever get out of that cycle. You're going to be self-defeating your rest of your life.
Right, right. How does I'll give you a short story, right? Even when I came to Vegas, like when I came to Vegas, and I just came out of it was how am I going to get away from the drugs, the gambling, the women, everything that the sins that every in this city offer, right? My
Yeah.
counselor told me at Lompoc said that's the wrong place to go for your situation, but I had to have confidence. I couldn't let self-doubt, anxiety hold me back from the situation, even though
Yeah.
everything was else going to be around me. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I had to give myself a chance. And what better to put myself through the fire than coming to a city like this? And the city has treated me well. Don't get it twisted. Don't get me wrong. I had a good job. Everything worked out fine. Phases in my life happened, and I'm set. But what if I didn't take that chance and I let self doubt creep into me and that invisible chains?
Yeah.
The invisible chains would have held me back and nothing would happen. Me coming on this platform and helping other men, helping other kids, helping other people learn this situation, that it can be overcome in a way that doesn't have to you being basically a pussy. Right? Right? You can be a masculine man that has things for himself and know how to stand up for himself, because I see a lot of self doubt in men today, even on videos, even on some. There's like a big separation. You have the big hoo ha, guys that we see on YouTube that's being exposed. Then you have the people that want to be it, but they still have self doubt after they spend all their money taking their courses,
Hmm.
right? How do you interrupt that spiral?
Well, honestly, the easiest way to do it, or the first step, I should say, is gratitude. I know
Okay,
someone might think like, how's gratitude? That's just so foreign. What do you mean? Well, the thing with gratitude is that if you are constantly in a state of being thankful and grateful and appreciative of all the little things in your life and everything, that's going to put your mind in a place where you're going to be thinking of ways to solve problems, not thinking of ways problems can't be solved. Because when you're in the doubt cycle, you're only thinking about how it can't happen. That's it. You're doubting yourself. You're not good enough. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. It's not the right economy. It's not the right this. It's not the right that. It's not the right wife. It's da 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 da. It's all these excuses, right?
true.
That negativity fuels the doubt cycle. So the first way to throw a wrench into the doubt cycle is for you to start having more appreciation for the things that you do have, appreciation for the opportunity, thankful, on being grateful. And so once you have that and you practice that on a regular basis, then your mind is now set in a place where, okay, now I encounter a situation. Okay, I'm going to be looking and thinking about it differently. Now it's not. Now this isn't the magic bullet cure all, but again, we're talking about throwing a monkey wrench in there to stop the system from continuing to go, start breaking that cycle where you can start looking at your situation differently. It's like, man, this is a tough thing, Oh man, dang, how am I going to solve this problem? How am I going to overcome this? How am I going to do this? You start thinking like that, then you can actually start working towards some type of resolution. And then over time, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. You asked the first question, what's the
Doc is
first step
going
to
off,
breaking the
guys.
cycle,
Doc
right?
is going off. This
So
is
the
what docs
first the
do.
first step is you gotta have a spirit of gratitude. You gotta be thankful. You
Right.
gotta be grateful. You gotta look for the good in every single situation. So even when you encounter a situation that used to bring you doubt before, you need to be grateful. Like, man, I'm thankful that I'm in this position, right? Like for instance, I'm thankful for even my own practice, right? I'm thankful I'm in the position to have my own practice, to have the problem of, okay, well, shoot, how do I provide better services to clients? How do I bring in more people? How do I help more people? How do I refine my like those are good things, right? But in the doubt cycle, it's I'm not good enough. That's why I'm not
Right.
getting a whole bunch of people coming in, and that's why this isn't happening. I'm not good, and my stuff's not good, and I'm not good, and I should just shut it all down. Like that that's not helpful to anybody, right? No, and it's not helpful to me, and it's not helpful to my clients. Because here's another thing as well with this whole doubt cycle: you're not just disrupting your own life with that. You're not just holding your own life back. If it was just you, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But someone's waiting for you to show up. My clients can't afford for me to be in this negative spiral of self-pity
Oh,
of,
yeah.
oh, woe was me. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Nobody likes me. I'm not a great. My clients don't have that luxury to say like, oh man, he's
They
going through
can't.
it. No, I gotta show up as my best self. I don't have time to be in that cycle. And there are people, gentlemen, there are men waiting for you. There are other people, whatever your industry is, there are people waiting for you to show up. You can't afford to stay in that cycle because other people are going to suffer. Your wife, your kids, your employees,
True.
your customers, they're going to suffer because you're in this constant cycle. So it's so critical to make sure that you set the foundation of gratitude so that you have a good place to stand. Because the thing is, it's not saying that we're never gonna, might second guess ourselves about some things, right? It's
Mhm,
not
mhm,
saying you're
mhm.
never gonna do that. It's about, okay, this is where I am. I'm not tearing myself down in the process. I have two paths to take. I can take path A or path B. All right. You work through it and you make a decision. But the doubt cycle keeps you from making any decision. An indecision is a decision of itself, which is a terrible decision because you make no progress and go nowhere. And again, as a matter of fact, not even just go nowhere, but you end up either getting left behind or falling far behind.
Right, right, right. Now
Yeah.
let me ask you this, Mike. Even for any type of man is that has true masculine traits, but they're letting self-doubt and anxiety take over them. There's always ways to come over that because you look at the bigger picture, like Doc said. You might have a business, you might have your kids, you might have your wife that's waiting for you to show up in a way that you never knew was possible. But
Yeah.
until you try something different and have the confidence, if you want to look at some of our confidence series playlists, leave us a comment. We'll send you the link. I'll give you everything that you need because at the end of it all, guys, we need you to become the man you were born to be. From the man up above, you have all the tools. Self doubt is just a bump stop in the road. Anxiety is just a bump stop in the road so you don't unlive yourself, right? Because if you don't do that, right, you have to understand that you can keep doing your mundane life, but what about when you want the promotion? What about when you want to ask that girl out? What about when you want to get that job or take the anxiety of you making your side hustle your main thing, right? It happens a lot. Doc, let me ask you this. With some of your clients, right, when they come into you, does self-doubt and anxiety reach the top of the list of what's happening to them? Like, say, that could be the cure-all, but it's not.
Well, I think when it comes to self-doubt, I mean, it comes in with the emotion of anxiety for sure.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
And so, because anxiety is a concern about what's coming, are we prepared for what's coming our way? And you think about when it comes to self-doubt, it's kind of along the same lines, except you've already made a decision that I'm not prepared for what's coming my way. And so now you're only thinking
Oh,
about how horrible it's going to be and how things can't work and things like that and who to blame and whatever, whatever, which is all an anxiety response to run away from whatever the true issue is. All right.
okay.
Here's the thing when it comes to self-doubt. We have you already have the answer. The
Yes.
getting the answer
Yes.
is not the
Yes.
problem. You already have the answer.
Yes.
The problem is you don't still want to pull the trigger to do what you need to do. That's the problem. Because you're concerned about, oh, what are all this stuff that's going to happen? All this stuff's going to happen, right? But you don't ever stop to think that if I do nothing, then I'm going to be in a worse condition. Guaranteed. Even if you make a mistake with your decision, like I said, indecision is no decision, right? Or I should say, indecision is a decision, but it's a
Is it
bad
just, yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
All right. Indecision is a bad decision because you're going to end up in a worse spot. Imagine if you have doubts and fears of going and getting marriage counseling because you're concerned that, what if it doesn't work out, or what if they tell me I'm wrong, or whatever. Your marriage is about to die, and you're concerned, and it's already dying, and you're
It's already, like I
concerned
was saying.
about, what happens if it doesn't work. You're already broke, and you're concerned about, well, if I take this job here or this job here or go to my own business, you're already broke. So that's the crazy part about it. That's like the irony of it. Because you're in that self-doubt cycle, you're already in your worst condition as it is. Anything other than where you are is better than where you are. And so it's like this idea that we have to understand that, for one, we already have we already know what the right thing to do is. It's not about finding what the right thing to do is. That's why I'm saying have that foundation of gratitude will help to clear out all of that anxiety, so that now you can have a clear mind to just do the thing you need to do, execute on what you need to execute on. But as far as like finding the right answer, you know what the right answer is. I was actually in a session with someone earlier this week, and they kept saying, "Look, I don't know, I don't know." I'm like, "No, you do know. You do know. It's not a fact that you don't know. You actually do know. You just don't want to hurt someone in the process of doing what you know you need to do, right?" So,
Oh,
and that's the
yeah.
thing, right? When we make a decision, when you decide to do something, that means you're also deciding not to do something else, right? Or there's going to be some type of consequence. That's just life. So
True.
again, taking in this
100.
fact and understanding that when you make a decision, like that decision is going to cost you something. But the whole idea is I'm giving this up. It's costing me this so I can get something better over here. So being able to internalize these truths will help you to start breaking that cycle up and stop going and stop doing that self-defeating stuff that reinforces your negative beliefs, right? To start giving you. And then here's another thing as well, Gordon, because there's some people that will give a half effort and then they'll still fail. You can't do that. You're still operating in the doubt cycle, because that's a trick of the mind. Like, well, I guess I'll give it a shot. And you give it a shot, but you don't really give it a
You
shot.
didn't give it a shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're sabotaging yourself. You're coming late. You're not showing up. You're not doing your studies. You're not. And then when it doesn't work out, they'll see. I
Oh,
told you it
there's.
wasn't going to work
Yep. Yep. Yep.
because you made
Yep.
it not work.
Yep.
And then there's another thing as well. And guys, this is so critical. You need to be able to take feedback. Part of breaking this cycle is you've got to take feedback. You got to do something with it. Because if you're lazy, if part of this, if part of your sabotaging stuff, people are calling out like, bro, you're lazy. You know you need to be getting up and doing this stuff and you're not doing it. Or, bro, you know you need to be studying. Or, man, you know you need to be doing your research. Or you need to be you need to be showing up and doing these things. You got to be able to take that feedback so you can start doing new behaviors, because part of changing our beliefs is changing our behaviors, right? You could do the whole mental stuff and changing all that and all that internal work, but you could also do it on the other side where you change your behaviors, and then your new behaviors that you keep doing over and over again will eventually change your belief. Right. So that's another thing to do as well. But you got to be willing to take feedback. Do not let your fragile ego stop you from being the man you're supposed to be. Because again, staying where you are is not going to work. And I won't go into the whole story, because I told this on the story before from the Bible about the four lepers. But the whole concept is, if we stay where we are, we're going to die. I need
They're
you
gonna
guys to
starve. Yep.
internalize that.
Yep.
If I stay where I am, I'm going to die physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. I can't keep going in the same cycle. I got to do something different. And if it means someone coming to me and saying, bro, you need to get it together. Enough's enough. Why are you treating your wife that way? Why are you treating your kids that way? Why aren't you showing up to work on time? Why aren't you giving your best effort? Why aren't you taking care of your health? You need to get it together. You got to be willing to take that feedback and do something with it. Not accept this victim mentality of, oh, woe is me. Life happened to me. Oh, oh, it's so bad. And I don't mean to make fun of anybody, but at some point in time, you got to stop. At some point in time, okay, I heard your story. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, it's bad. Now, what do you want to do about it? What do you want to do
Yep. Yep.
about it? You can't stay in the same spot. You got to get up and do something about it. So if you really want to break this cycle, you got to be serious about it too, and recognize and come to a point where you say, hell or high water, I'm not staying here. No matter what, I'm getting out of this spot. I'm not staying in this same cycle. I will be the 11th man. I will be able to make decisions. I will be able to stand on my own 2 feet. I will be able to be the masculine and be the man I'm supposed to be. Like, you got to make that decision.
Right. I mean, if any of you can relate to what Doc went off on, I told this is why I love Doc. Doc just you give him a topic and pew, he goes 180 miles an hour, shooting to the rocket ship to everything else because he's so passionate about helping you men and women have better relationships with your kids, your wife, yourself. Because self-love is the conquering and appreciation for anxiety and self-doubt, right? If you know how to put in the work, like Doc would say, right? Doc, let me. I'm gonna mimic Doc right now, right? Here we go. Right? When you're doing something that is stuck in your pattern, in your behaviors, and you didn't move to anything else that you got going on, what are you gonna do differently? Right? Take it from an ex-criminal, an ex-drug addict, and I can remember everything else, an ex-felon, and everything else. That once you figure out what you want to do and be grateful to the man up above, you can conquer your life, get the dream life you want, have the wife, have the kids, have the love, have the happiness you want to be in. But you have to take that inaction decision to an action that you want to do something with your life. Because, like Doc said, I'm going to piggyback off of that. If you don't have the fortitude to do something, but you want to play that victim mentality so that you're not getting the sales, you're not getting the business, you're not getting the money, you're not getting the things, what's going to happen tomorrow or next month? That time that you have is running out. the time that you have to secure everything that you have going on is never going to be a perfect time, right? It's going to be, you have the keys. Like I always say, like I told, like yesterday with me and Carrie stuff, right? Her man, they got stuck in the desert, Doc, at that Burning Man, right? Their RV generator right now with no AC, and it stripped her down with everything. And you have to be resourceful.
Yeah.
The old her who would have been complaining, victim mentality, this, she wanted to be appreciative of what they were doing because now they came together as a community, as a society. Because and Abel just bought this RV to have the AC and have a place, but it kind of like took a shit. So it's like, old her would have been, take me out of this place, isn't that? But she had the time of her life. And I said, that's life in itself. What happened just then and there.
Yeah.
Right? Let me ask you this, right?
Wait, home. Before you ask me that
go
question,
ahead.
before you ask me that question, because I want to drive this point home as far as the victim mentality.
Okay.
Do a story real quick. I was watching Jubilee's Surrounded series, and they had a one come out recently with Patrick Bet David, I think is his name.
Okay.
And and it's like one capitalist versus like 20 anti-capitalists or whatever. And so y'all can find this scene floating around somewhere online because it was one of the ones that stuck out. So he's out here talking to this guy from Texas or whatever, and this guy's like singing his whole song story, right? Like, I applied to 470 something jobs, and and I'm not, and I haven't gotten any callbacks, and and so on and so forth. And then so Patrick asked the guys like, "Oh man, it's like your whole family in this little town out in Texas." He's like, "Yeah, but most of them are dead." And then Patrick said, "Yo, sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that." And he's like, and the guy just, "Oh yeah, no, whatever. It's just what it is. That's just how it happens to us poor folk." Something along those lines. And then Patrick was like,
Oh, okay.
Why are you talking with that victim mentality? Like, why are you talking like that? And he was just like, "Well, I guess it just is what it is." So okay, they move on with the conversation. Patrick says, "Hey, listen, you say you're struggling with getting a job. I will give you an interview and give you 90 days, to work." And the guy's like, "Well, I have to check and see. I have to check and see, what your company's about."
What?
You just said you applied to 477 jobs in 2 years.
That right there killed me.
No callbacks. And the guy who owns the business is saying, "I will interview you, give you a job, move you out to Florida, give you 90 days and reevaluate and see," right? You ain't got nothing to lose. You're already down bad. And you out here talking about, "Oh, well, I have to see." You said I don't have the experience. You said I don't have, I'm stuck and I can't. And so I'm saying this is something so critical. If you want to bring this up, is
That's
because that
perfect.
mindset, that victim mentality will literally keep you from getting the thing you want. That cycle of doubt will keep you, even if the opportunity is in your face and it will solve your problems. That mindset, that victim mentality will keep you from that. And then later on, I don't know if this one's floating around. There was this girl that got on there was talking to him, and she's like, I have all these health issues and yada, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And he said, I will pay for your specialist and I will get you an appointment with a psychologist to help you fix your mental health so that you get out of this situation. And she was like, absolutely not.
What? What?
You just said you had this debilitating thing. You said you were struggling to find somebody. You said you were having a hard time. This man's offering you an opportunity, and you say, no, no, I don't want it. That's the danger of the doubt cycle. That's the
Danger.
danger of
Danger.
being in that negative loop. Because the solutions to your problems, the things that would change your life, the opportunities, they are going to come over and over and over and over again. And you're going to say, nah, I don't want to do it. I'm too scared. I'm not good enough. This, that. You're making up all these excuses and you're going to block your blessings simply because you're stuck in this cycle. So that victim mentality is killer. It's killer. It will keep you from having the life you want. It will keep you from becoming the 11th man. So I just want to make sure I drive that point home that you really got to take this part seriously. You got to. It's critical. It's critical.
I mean, the part I see with having self-doubt, anxiety, and victim mentality, like this perfect situation, right? You could have the biggest opportunity fall in your lap, groomed, rolled out, red carpeted, do everything, and you're gonna think of a way how to basically screw it up because
Absolutely.
of right.
Absolutely.
You will do it because, and what do you think? Out of 400 something job applications, and you come to an interview and you come with that attitude, I wouldn't hire you.
Absolutely not.
But then again, too, but you want, and it's this is like almost, is it wrong to have that type of, like, say, classification of people to put a label? But there are some people that just don't want that. They like being in that situation, which is ridiculous to me. But then they want to be able to do something for themselves and then throw it on other people. They didn't look back in the mirror and figure it out that this is what it's all about, guys. Right?
I wouldn't say it's wrong. No, you
It's
know, and
not wrong.
I'm all for not categorizing people and diagnosing people
Correct.
and
Okay.
things like that. But when it comes to a victim mentality, you know, this is about taking personal responsibility over your life. You know,
Yes.
and then so many
Yes.
people, you know, they want to sit in this pity party that, oh, woe is me. And again, I'm a therapist and a Christian, and I love people, and I'm here with you, and I want to help you, but can no one help you when you want to stay in that situation? When you keep making up excuses as to why you can't change your life, and yet everybody else has. If you got, what's the guy's name? Nick Vespucci, or the guy with no arms and no legs, goes
Oh
around
yeah, yeah,
speaking to
yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man's a multimillionaire. Man, he got no arms and no legs, and he's out here doing it. There's people that come over with nothing and come over here and make something happen. There's people who've been in worse situations and come through and make something happen. For every way that you create a victim mentality within yourself, there are going to be thousands and thousands of other people who are in worse situations than you and pull themselves out. So now, what's your excuse? You can't blame, oh, it's the white man, or it's the black man, or it's the government, or it's the money, or it's the this, or it's the that. At some point in time, you got to say, I got to take my own life in my own hands. And no matter what happened to me, I have to make new and better decisions moving forward. You just got to get to that point because eventually people are going to get sick and tired of hearing your sad story. Or you're just going to find an echo chamber, which is what happens to a lot of
The echo
people
chamber.
that
Yeah.
are victims. It's like, oh, shoot. These people want me to change my life and take responsibility. Absolutely not. Let me go find some people that are worse than me, so it makes me feel good about myself.
Ooh, that's a
And
good
then
one.
we all can be victims together, though.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
that's what happens. Yep.
That's what happens. Victims,
Yep.
if they don't want to change, they will go and find a group of people and find people that are worse off than them, and so that they can all be there, but you feel good enough. But here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part about it. Everybody in the group feels the same way. Everyone feels that they're better than everybody else, but they're all victims. That's insane. Instead of saying, "Hey, listen, we gotta do something different. We gotta change." And And I'll say this, just another quick story. Just this is for me, right? This is about what happens when you break the debt out cycle, like what it looks like on the other side,
I was about to say,
right?
yeah.
Because as I was working for the school district and I realized my time there was done, they're not cashing me out. I just finished my degree 2022. They're not cashing me out.
No.
They're not. There's nothing I can do there. I don't want to be a principal. My time is run my course. All right. I've run my course. So now I had to make a decision. This is it would be a scary decision, right? I'm either going to get this job at you. If I get this job at UNLV, I'll go with UNLV, or I'm going to go to start my own business. Now, mind you, I didn't have no big caseload. I didn't have no insurance panel set up. I didn't have nothing set up, but that was it. And so, because I believed in myself enough, because I've done the work, because I've practiced gratitude, because I was sure about myself and my decision, I said, this is what's going to happen. If I get the job at UNLV, I'll take that. But if I don't get it, I'm going to take it as I can go start my own practice. And
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
didn't get a job at UNLV. I stepped into my own practice. I'm telling you, it was a little concerning. It's like you didn't have anyone booked on your schedule. You didn't
It
have
don't
those
matter.
sessions coming through, right?
It don't matter.
So, but because I was so sure of myself, and this is the beauty of it, I want you guys to really internalize right now. Because I was sure of myself, I was not going to fail. That's what you have to understand. I was not going to fail. When you are sure of yourself, you're not going to fail because nothing is going to stop you from being successful. And so here I am 2 years later, on my own, have my own practice. I did more money last year than I ever made in my entire life, ever in my entire life, right? By betting on myself. And
Bet
so
on yourself. Yep.
that's the part that we have to understand. Bet on yourself. Like, you could break out of this cycle and you don't have to. And then success begets success. And so once you start becoming successful, the whole cycle, the whole doubt cycle goes away. You don't have to worry about that anymore. And again, this isn't talking about, okay, well, I gotta make this decision or that decision. No, it's about the surety in yourself as a man. It's a surety in yourself to say, okay, I know I can do this, right? Whatever the thing may be, right? I know what this might be cost me, but I know I'm going to take this path and I'm going to do it with everything I got. And then here's the thing. Here's the best thing about it, guys. Even if it doesn't work out, because you're sure of yourself, you will find
That's
another
all that
way.
matters. Yep.
You'll find another way. You'll learn
Yep.
from it and either make it better again. Like we were talking about Alex Hormozy before we got on. How many times he talks about his failures and how many times he
Oh,
messed
10
up and
years.
messed up and messed up and messed up,
Yeah.
right? But he kept moving. He was sure of himself. He wasn't in that doubt cycle because he could have quit, but he kept going. And so it's the same thing. So even if you make a decision, it doesn't necessarily pan out to be the best. At least you can be sure that, okay, I'm sure of myself. I gave it my all. It didn't work. How can I make it better next time? So
Right, right.
yeah.
I got to give a shout out to this Miss Chris out here. She's listening to us right now. I'm going to give a shout out talking about business. Everything. What if you have self doubt about your system or your business and you're looking for a different angle? Like Doc just said, all you have to do is be confident in yourself, fail a little bit, figure it out along the way. I've worked with billionaires, millionaires. I used to be I'm the brokest millionaire you want to know. Because all my friends are millionaires, but they go, why how come you don't want to chase money no more? I said, because I'm chasing happiness for what I have with my kids. So the phases change and it's understandable, but it's good to have, you know what I mean? And I do have stuff that's along the way that you might want to do. But because of this channel is about building confidence, getting over the anxiety, learning new direction, new angles, and changing your beliefs. So you change your behaviors, so you change your goals. So you change your goals and you change your dreams, right? Once you change it, like Doc said, you're going into the unknown, even in business. The number one thing you want to do about business is solve a problem. That's it. You solve a problem, you can get rich. You can create a widget to solve a problem, no problem. But for the sake of this episode, right? Right? How do you cultivate unshakable self-assurance, Doc? Second half. Because Doc is gonna go off now.
So I have this formula, right? Confidence plus competence equals capacity, right?
Ooh, repeat that. Wait. Let
So
me hold you up. Let me put
okay,
this on big speaker. Repeat that for the
all right,
recording.
okay. Confidence plus competence equals capacity.
Okay,
And so
nice.
confidence is your belief and your ability to accomplish the thing you want to accomplish, right? Competency is your knowledge about said thing. Capacity is your ability to activate and use all these things in order to grow, to solve a problem, to do whatever it is you need to do. And so, and the greater your capacity, it's this cycle, right? The greater your capacity, the more it builds your confidence. As you build your confidence, you know, okay, I need to learn and grow. And so you learn and grow, you get more information, you try something, then it builds your capacity. And it's this constant cycle
Mm,
over and
good
over again.
cycle.
Now you
Very good
keep
cycle.
doing that over and over and over again, then guess what? Then you have unshakable belief in yourself. That's why there's these people that
Yes.
can go and start a business and it goes and it does well, then it's a massive bust, and then they go and do it again.
Doing
And
another
then they
one.
do it again and again and again and again. And then now they're all of a sudden they're millionaires and billionaires because their confidence, they hey, I believe I can do this. They learned about it. They tried something. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, but their capacity increased. Then they tried something a little bit bigger, believed a little bit bigger, learned more. And it's this cycle that keeps going and going. So now imagine if you keep doing this cycle your whole life. You start doing it from when you're a kid. I mean, guess what happens now? Shoot, what happens now is no matter what, right? No matter what problem you're encountering, it's like, I can solve this. I can handle this. I can do this. I can overcome this. And so that's how you build that unshakable confidence, that unshakable belief in self so that you can accomplish anything or any task that comes your way.
Right, right. I mean, it's like life, right? The Oh wait, somebody just said Miss Chris just threw the mic thing at us. We don't know how to do this TikTok thing, Miss Chris, because that's why we're branching off to this. But then Mike, she was like throwing a hand, throwing a mic. I'm like, how the frick? What is this? This is all new to us on TikTok. Usually, I'm doing webinars, seminars in live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and everything else. But it's the same thing with life. You know, I've opened it. I failed in business so many different times. I know what not to do even in life. It's even controlling my emotions, even like raising the things that I feel competent to do. That's called wisdom and just going for it. Because even like this other business I got going on, right, we're gonna do it and we're gonna try and see if we can break it. And then the problems we have, even like for TikTok, because he does TikTok live selling, is like we're gonna just figure it out and break it along the way. And no, because we know what not to do, but this TikTok thing is something different. Let me ask you this. What would be your ending remarks for the blueprint for freedom of this?
What would be the blueprint?
Yes.
All right. So I'd say the first
The
things
daily
like
practice. What do you tell your clients?
daily practice. Well, I mean, it depends. Clients is a little bit different because it's all
Okay.
nuance, right? Depending on where they are, what
True.
they're dealing with, and everything like that. But because depending on where they are, they might be really grateful, but maybe they have some other things going on, right?
Okay.
So the first thing I would say at daily practice is gratitude. Practice gratitude. I always tell people do a gratitude list, 90 days, 3 things every day, and never repeat anything on that list. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like, dang, how is that possible? And especially after you get past like day 5, you're like, man, I'm struggling now. Because at the first, you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, house, wife, kids, car, job, the sun, God, whatever. You already have these like your routine answers, right? But once all those run out, then you're like, oh shoot. Well, and you start struggling, right? Because your mind is not set to find the good. Your mind is set to find the bad. Now, if I ask you have a
Mm.
daily negative list, oh my
Yes.
gosh, you're never repeating, you can go on forever. Stupid
Right, right, right.
government, the president, the money, the job, my boss, freaking wife,
Anything.
this, that. You can keep it going forever. Kids won't
Yeah.
listen, chores, like whatever, whatever, right? That you wouldn't have an issue at all. There would be no pause in that. I'd probably have to tell you, okay, stop. You already hit 150 things and it's only day one. Just chill. All right. But so I would say start a daily gratitude list, 3 things every day, never repeating for 90 days. And you're going to
Ah,
shift. You're going to literally change the structure of your brain. Instead of finding the negative, you're going to be always looking for the positive. Doesn't matter how bad the situation is. You're going to be like, okay, well, I'm thankful at least I have a job, or I'm thankful for this, or I'm thankful. You're going to always find that. And that's going to give you a strong foundation and mindset to when now you encounter something. Because the thing is, doubt only comes when you have to make a decision. You have to encounter something to make a decision about, right? So now once you have that foundation, that positive foundation to stand on, now when you come up to it, right, now you're going to want to make sure you, again, the belief, like I was telling you before, the confidence cycle, right? Make sure you believe that you can do the thing you say you're going to do. Like whatever you set out to do, make sure you do that. You should be doing that in your life on a daily basis. It should be, whether it doesn't have to be huge. Because the way the brain
Yeah.
operates, it's not like, oh, there's this magnitude here and a non-magnitude there. No, the brain takes whatever you give it and it's like, okay, that's just what it is. So having that routine, that daily routine is going to be helpful for that. Okay, I said I was going to work out every day and I did it. I said I was going to eat right and I did it. I said I was going to read my Bible and I did it, or study and I did it, or get up on time and I did it. You got to make sure that you have that routine so you have that belief in yourself. The reason why I was able to make the decision about the job is because I had a belief in myself, right? And I did talk to someone about it as well. And then they reminded me like, "Hey, bro, you ever failed before?" I'm like, "No, anything I ever tried, I haven't failed," right? So why would this be any different? Boom. That's all I needed. Sometimes it's a
Yep.
reminder, right? And so now, by doing that, by having that daily routine, by understanding who you are and that you accomplish the thing you set out to do, now you can have more confidence in yourself in whatever decision you make. And then the second part of that again is building your competency. How much do you know about these decisions? How much do you know about what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go? That's another thing. You don't have to fly blind. That's what a lot of people might think. Like, oh, I got to fly blind. I just got to make a decision. If you're forced to make an immediate decision, there's a problem already. Unless it's a super emergency, you should be able to get some information about these decisions. I had time to get this information about the decisions I had to make, right? So again, and that builds what? The competency. So now you have the confidence. Now you have the competency. Now you make a decision, right? And if you make a decision, you play it out, it's now going to build your capacity. And so now
Mm.
when you start doing this on a regular basis, you're going to start seeing that, oh, shoot, I don't really have like doubts like that anymore. I don't have any doubts like that. Something comes up, I analyze it, I do what I need to do, I believe in myself, I try it, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't, because I have a positive mindset, what can I do different next time? How can I grow? See
Yes.
that? See where the positive mindset comes in, the gratitude?
Yes.
Because even if it doesn't work out, you're now thinking, okay, how can I do this better next time? I tried launching a men's group like 2 or 3 times and it failed each time. And I didn't say, oh, what was me? What was me? Okay, what do I need to do different? Okay, the marketing wasn't good. The information wasn't good. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to get in front of these people. I need to network. I need to blah, 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 whatever. That's the positive mindset allows you to do so you can keep going and going and going and going. And so once you start doing that, you're not going to have the doubts anymore, right? Now you'll have
True.
choices,
Yeah.
right? We'll have choices. You'll know, okay, I need to choose A or B. But now, because you know what to do and how to move, and you have the capacity, now it's no thing anymore. It's like, yeah, no, I want to choose B or I want to choose A, and this is why. And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't work out, great. I'm going to win anyways. Like I'm not going to be held down. I'm not going to be stopped. Right.
Nice.
So I would say, as far
Nice.
as the blueprint, that's what I would say. Make sure you have that gratitude, right? Build that confidence, some type of routine, something where and capture all those moments that you accomplish things. So the thing is, no one got to any point in life without accomplishing something. Right? Because a lot of times you think about how, I'm not confident, I'm not confident, I'm not confident. It's not that you're not confident, it's that you're not tying together your victories. You separate out your victories, you combine and amplify your failures. Stop doing that. Combine and amplify your victories and separate and minimize the failures and learn from those things. And that way you'll have this whole bank account full of confidence, which, yeah, I overcame this, overcame that. I remember when I was bullied and I handled it this way. I remember when my mom was drunk and I handled it that way. I remember when my dad was, and I handled it this way. And then in class when I struck, and then you start putting all these things together and you'll realize, shoot, I'm a whole lot more confident than I give myself credit for. And then
Right.
with that, then you start learning more about whatever it is you need to learn about, building your competency. Go out and try whatever you need to try. You're going to be, actually, honestly, you're going to be winning a lot more and more and more and more. And so that's the blueprint. And you keep doing that, and you're not going to have to worry about doubt ever again another day in your life.
Beautiful. I mean, I told you Doc was going to go off, guys. That's just
Yeah.
what he do sometimes. Give him a subject that he's passionate about and he has really sink his teeth in. It's going to be unbelievable because this is what this channel is about, guys. It's not just for men. You see me and Carrie come on. You see some of the faceless videos I put on there. It come from my heart so you can get motivated through the day. Sometimes it might not come out the best, but some of the benefits of conquering self-doubt is you get to recognize your true capabilities of what your potential is really all about, right? You can pursue the goals, the micro wins, everything, and overcoming fear of the anxiety, the self-doubt will put you in a place that you just find that you like that place because you don't have to worry about what's happening in the back. By accumulating the small wins, like Doc said, which the brain will register that, hey, I'm capable of these achievements of starting this business. Will you fail in some of it? Come on, we all human. Of course we did, right? But when you build that powerful, let's say, reservoir, that pond of self-belief and confidence, guess what happens with the next project you do? Guess what happens when you learn to effectively silence that inner critic that's been bothering you all the time? And how that transformation is going to get there. You think Alex Hormozy did it? No, of course he did. He failed for 10 years. Do you think Eric Thomas failed eating out of the garbage can? Do you think Tony Robbins didn't fail being broke? Right? All of these guys have a story similar to yours.
Mm-hmm.
All of them,
Yeah.
including myself, including Doc. The only difference is they made the decision to not let the indecision take a hold of them.
And you know what, Gordon? And they all could have played the victim. All of
They
them could
all
have played
could
the
have,
victim.
but where would the
Just
world be?
exactly. You know, Eric Thomas could have said, you know what, my dad wasn't in my life. My mom lied to
Yep.
me. Nobody cared about me. No one showed up for me. Um, Tony Robbins could have been like, yeah, no, my mom was unstable and she chased me out the house with a knife, and I didn't. My father wasn't there, and there's so much instability, and we were poor, and so it's just not possible to do it. Like they give kind of come up with all those excuses. Les Brown, hey, I was
All of them.
mentally retarded, and they said that, and I could have never. David Gog, every single person who you look up to, every single person we look up to and look at is making a difference could have chosen to play the victim. And with the right violin, playing in the background, we all would have felt sorry for them. It would have been justified. They've been through some pretty serious things. If you listen to their stories, they've been through some pretty serious things. But they all made a decision, right? They made a decision to keep pushing forward. And so we have to make that same decision and not allow doubt to hold us back, not allow victim mentality to hold us back. We got to make a decision. And if we make that decision, you'll be surprised how your life will change for the better. Because like I was saying about well, again, won't go into the full story, but that story out the Bible with the four lepers, they made a decision. There was doubt, but they made a decision. They said, we're going forward. And because they went forward, they didn't just change their own life. Because, like I said before, this isn't just about you. They changed the life of an entire nation because they made a simple decision to move forward. Dr. Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, David Goggins, Les Brown, Keith Fairclough,
Everyone.
Gordon Watt, because we make a
What?
decision, we're changing lives. That's it. Because we just chose not to be a victim, we're
Right.
changing lives. And so the same thing for you. Don't stay in that place. You don't have to. There's a way to move forward in a powerful, powerful way. Your life matters. Your voice matters. Your mind matters. So make the decision, right? Get the gratitude, build the confidence, recognize your confidence, build your capacity, build your competency, try something, build your capacity, and you're gonna start adding value to every single area of your life. And your life is going to change drastically for the better. I promise you that.
All right, guys. Guys, this is Gordon Watt from Boundaries Neighborhood. If you want to look at more of the playlist, go out to our YouTube channel or join the school community and figure out how we can get you going on everything. Miss Crush, thank you for joining. We're here on Thursdays, 10 o'clock every Thursdays. Me and Doc, and then me and Carrie usually on Friday. We're gonna have. I might have to bring my good friend Kareem Ellis, Les Brown's protege, on here.
Oh, okay.
But now, Doc, if you want some personal help, let them, Doc, move your head so we can scan your code over there.
Oh,
The other way.
other way, other
Scan
way.
that code if you're looking for
There you
some
go.
personal help. If somebody else wants really professional therapy here, somebody that's going through some situation, please reach out. Right? Guys, aloha. This is Gordon Watt from Boundary Brotherhood. We'll see you next week.
You guys take care. Have a good and blessed day.
All right. Stay blessed. Stay confident. Bye bye. All right, let's end this. Man, I mean, I got uh